Today's episode 16 of my weekly feature where I share with you my latest purchases from the Perfume Parlour. Today's a big one though, and I've got a whopping 16 bottle extract spray haul to go through with you. And all of these are copies of fragrances from the same house. And that house is BYREDO, who are a niche house based in Sweden. I've given them all a thorough testing now over the past few weeks, so to find out which ones I'd highly recommend and also which ones I'm not so keen on, stay tuned to this episode of Mags Frags. Yes, hello again everybody, and thank you very much once again for tuning in to the biggest and best YouTube fragrance channel on my street. And I'm Paul, and if this is the first time that you've stumbled across my channel, then hello and welcome aboard. And if you're looking to purchase your first copy fragrances and need some inspiration, then please feel free to go and check out the other videos in the series, which you can now find in a dedicated Perfume Parlour playlist, which is on the home page of my channel. Like I said in the intro, I've got a huge 16 bottle haul to share with you today, all of which are copies of BYREDO fragrances. So I'll kind of just give you a brief description of the overall smell of each one, and that way the video won't be 2 hours long, but I'll probably end up splitting it into two parts anyway. But before I begin today's rundown, if you are interested in picking up any of these bottles that feature in today's episode to try out for yourself, you can use my unique discount code to get yourself 10% off your first order, which I'll leave a direct link to down in the description. The link will direct you to a login page, and you'll be asked to create a login name and also a password. But once you've set your account up and you've logged in and made all your purchases, your discount will automatically be waiting for you and applied at the checkout. So without further ado, let's dive in and see what's made it into today's haul. Welcome to Mags Frags. Okay, so the first one in today's list is called African Art, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 1863. This is a copy of Baldarfreak, which is one of the most popular ones from the BYREDO range, and it centres around a fresh vetiver accord. So if you like fragrances like Terre de Mer, you'll really enjoy this one. Overall, you get a really clean and bright smelling fragrance with notes of lemon, bergamot and neroli in the opening, but as it dries down, the most prominent note in this one is the vetiver. But you also get an African marigold note blended with violet musk and jasmine, which produces a really soft, creamy butteriness in the background and just balances out all the dryness from the vetiver. It's a really pleasant and calming fragrance which retains a fairly bright summery aroma, but it also has a dry, dusty element to it that kind of makes you think of like maybe a Moroccan desert. It's one that's definitely grown on me over time, and a must-try fragrance if you enjoy vetiver heavy scents. This Perfume Parlour copy has got really good performance with a moderate projection, and you'll still smell it on your skin 7 to 8 hours after you've first applied it. It's definitely one to try out if you've not already got your nose on it. Okay, so next up is one called Colorado Spirit, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 0286. This is a copy of Mojave Ghost, which is classed as an oriental floral fragrance with notes of sapodilla, ambrette, magnolia and violet, which produce a semi-sweet, fruity floral type of aroma in the opening that I would say instantly gives off a gentle springtime feeling. There's sandalwood and a mild cedar that add a touch of woodiness, and everything is just so pleasant and easygoing in this one. But then there's the ambergris in the base that for me is the kind of wild child note that kind of gate crashes the party and doesn't really belong there. And it brings with it a kind of sourness that makes this one slightly polarising. And it reminds me of that optical illusion of the dress where some people see a blue dress and others see a white and gold one. With this fragrance, you're either going to smell the beautiful spring florals with a hint of pencil shavings like woodiness, or you're going to get a bit of a sour milk kind of a vibe. which is basically mainly what I get from this one. I have let a few people smell it, and it seems to be kind of a 50-50 split between them whether they pick up on the sourness or not, but it's certainly a very interesting and unique smelling fragrance. However, lots of people absolutely love this one, so definitely worth picking up and trying out for yourself. So let me know how you get along with it. Okay, next up is one that goes by the name of Bombay Dream, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 1632. This is a copy of Mumbai Noise, which smells quite similar to Black Afghano from Nasamato. The notes in this are Davana, tonka bean, coffee, labdanum, sandalwood and agar wood. And what you're going to get from this one is a dark but fairly sweet smelling scent with lots of coffee and lots of oud. There's some leathery nuances in there too, and also some sweetness from the tonka beans, and the overall aroma is a rich, luxurious smelling scent with a Middle Eastern quality. You're going to pick up on more of the coffee note in the opening with some kind of dried fruits, but the dry down is where the oud comes through, but it's not too overpowering, and it's not quite as woody in the dry down as the Black Afghano. And I think this is actually more smooth and easy to live with than the Black Afghano. I've never been into India, but if this replicates the scent of what you get when you're walking down a busy Mumbai street on a hot sunny day, then I need to book my tickets to go, because this smells really good. It is definitely one for the autumn and winter though, so one to put on your cold weather shopping list from the Perfume Parlour. Okay, so this next fragrance is another very popular one in the BYREDO range, and this Perfume Parlour copy is called Special Aqua, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 0275. This one is inspired by Gypsy water, which is a super fresh fragrance with citrus notes, juniper, pine needles, incense, orris root, sandalwood, vanilla and amber. It opens up really fresh and bright, and I'd describe it as having like a fizziness to it. It's very energising, and it remains light and refreshing throughout into the heart of the scent, where you'll get a hint of the crisp green pine needles accord and a hint of bitterness from the juniper. The further you get into the dry down, it does start to sweeten up with ambery touches and a bit of the incense, but this is an out and out summer scent that's really clean, juicy and uplifting. The downside is that, like with lots of other fresh fragrances, the performance on this one isn't the best, and you'll need to maybe reapply it once or twice if you want to get a full day's wear out of it. It's a lovely smelling fragrance though, and I can't see a reason why anybody would not enjoy this one, so you definitely should consider putting this one on your next summer fragrance wish list. Right, so the fifth one in today's haul is called Noir Spice, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 1355. This is a copy of Black Saffron with notes of saffron, juniper berries, Chinese grapefruit, leather, black violet, raspberry, cashmere and vetiver. It's basically a lighter, more wearable version of Tom Ford's Tuscan leather. They share the same prominent notes of raspberry, saffron and leather, but this one includes the grapefruit in the opening and also black violet in the heart of the scent, which gives it a more kind of airy springtime feeling. I'm not personally the biggest fan of Tuscan leather, and I find it to be maybe a bit too rich and intense for my own personal taste, but I don't mind this one at all, and it's definitely one that I would consider wearing on a night out. Some people have said that they get kind of a cigarette type smell from in the far dry down of the original BYREDO version, but I haven't picked up on that one in this particular version, and I absolutely hate the smell of cigarettes, so it'd be something that would really stand out and I'd be able to detect if it was in there. So yeah, this to me is a semi-sweet, fruity, leathery fragrance with decent performance. You'll get about 5 hours plus out of longevity out of it with a decent moderate projection, and it'd work well as a date night scent. It's refined and classy smelling, but like I say, the best way I can describe this one is being more of like a mild and versatile take on Tuscan leather. Okay, so this next one that I'm going to talk about goes by the name of Soft Pace, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 0793. This is a copy of Slow Dance, which is an ambery, woody fragrance that came out in 2019, and it's said to bring back memories of a 90s high school dance in America, or a school disco if you live here in the UK. The notes in this are cognac, opoponax, labdanum, violet, geranium, vanilla, patchouli and incense. But this is a fairly dark resinous fragrance which is best suited to the cooler months of the year. It's a pretty complex and slightly challenging fragrance with some smoky incense and also some soil-like earthiness in there also, coming from the patchouli. There's also violet in here, which makes me believe that this is maybe a little bit inspired by Dior Fahrenheit with the darker resinous notes, even though it smells quite a bit different. The opoponax resin and the sweet vanilla aim to sweeten it up a touch, but it's just a mild ambery sweetness that produces a waxy, lipsticky kind of texture. I don't really get much in the way of booziness from the cognac, and if I'm honest, I want to simplify this one. It's just a dirty, kind of smoky, waxy smelling scent that's just a bit and it leaves me a little bit flat, if I'm honest. It's not one that I'd say I actively dislike, and maybe reviewing it outside in the 30-degree heat is another factor why it's not wowing me, but so far it's a 6 out of 10 kind of scent for me. Okay, next up is one that goes by the name of Bookcase, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 1729. This one is a copy of Bibliothèque, which is a fruity floral musk which came out in 2017. The top notes in this are peach and plum. In the heart there's violet and peony, and the base notes in this are musk, patchouli and leather. Yes, I'll start by saying that this is right up my street. It's not the most masculine smelling fragrance, but as soon as you first spray it, you're met with an absolutely wonderful hit of fruitiness from the peach and the plum. It's very sweet from the get-go, but it's also fairly soft and powdery when the musk and the violet come through. I would say the opening is where this leans kind of a little bit feminine, but maybe I would say even maybe a little bit too feminine for some of you guys out there. But as it dries down, you get more of the leather and the patchouli, which then makes an appearance, and it makes it more suitable for men to wear. It's a warm and comforting fragrance that's really addictive, and I think it's really pleasant and inoffensive, so it'd be great to wear in and around the office, or maybe for a date night. It's not what I'd class as a sexy or seductive smelling scent, but it's just a very nice smell, and it'd probably make for a really luxurious room air freshener, so I may even pick up a tub of the fragrance dust in my next fragrance haul. For me, this is one of the highlights of the whole BYREDO range, and I think it's really classy and elegant. This extract spray is so well blended, and literally after the first couple of seconds you can tell what it's supposed to be. So if you like your sweeter, fruitier fragrances, then this is one that I would definitely recommend that you try out for yourselves. And the last one of part one is called Blazing Heat, and the Perfume Parlour code on this one is 1902. This is a copy of Sundazed, which is a citrus aromatic with top notes of Californian lemon and mandarin orange. In the mid there's neroli and jasmine sambac, and in the base there's cotton candy and musk. So this is a really bright, fresh and clean summer fragrance that opens up with sparkling, zesty citrus notes, but to my nose the lemon overpowers the mandarin, and it's what I pick up on the most. However, the major players in this one are the neroli and the jasmine sambac, which produce a clean, soapy, green, kind of herbal accord, which combined with the lemon, I do unfortunately get a bit of the dreaded toilet cleaning product vibe going on just in the opening of this one. There's musk and cotton candy in the base, which round off all the sharp edges, but not enough for it to become in any way sweet or musky. It stays very bright and uplifting throughout the whole life of the fragrance, and it's got that fresh laundry vibe going on. But if you already own any copies of things like Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino or Neo from Xerjoff, then this might be a redundant purchase, because it's in that kind of citrus neroli ballpark, but still worth picking up if you don't own either of those two. It projects really well and has really good longevity for a fresh scent, which you'll still be able to detect a good 7 or 8 hours after you first sprayed it. So overall, I'd say this is a solid pickup and a decent one to consider trying out if you are looking for something a bit more clean and summery smelling. Yeah, so that's about it for part 1 of this episode, but to see the next 8 fragrances in this haul and to hear my final verdict on which ones I'd recommend the most, please click on the thumbnail at the top left hand corner of your screen now, and I'll see you in about 2 seconds for part 2.